All right, welcome to the other side of the coin, everyone. It's a lockdown special. I'm not going to take too much time introducing my guests because you guys all know they're very well known in football Twitter community. But I'm just glad that they're here on a late notice. We've recently been talking about a lot of things football. We're bored as hell, and I just thought maybe in the upcoming few days, we can just get together and talk about all the different things that are materializing on a daily basis in Chelsea football Twitter. So, first topic I want to talk about, which is quite hot at the moment, is Rudiger. We've seen some, rumors or reports, whatever you want to call it, that he is going to be getting a 3-year extension, I believe, 3-year contract extension. Which and with another further 1-year extension on top of that, if everything goes well. So I want to get the views from my guests. I want to start off with perhaps Matisse. Matisse, this news materialized literally maybe 24 hours ago. The fan base have always been talking about Rudiger, that he's probably the one that needs to be sold. There's been so many polls that happen on a daily basis about who's our best CB, who needs to be sold, and Rudiger wins every poll, negatively, obviously. So what's this new, thing about now that he's going to be getting a contract extension? What is it that we are not seeing, but Frank is seeing? Tell us.
Initially, when he was playing games, I was like, oh, he's coming for Tomori, who, by the way, was playing pretty well, apart from one cameo when he came back in where he hadn't played for a while and he was quite poor. But before that, he had established quite a good chemistry and partnership with Zuma. I remember the Ajax away game. I remember so many instances where they cleaned up after each other. They weren't the most solid, pairing playing out from the back, but in terms of brute, defending, they were pretty good together. And then obviously Rudiger comes back from injury, the Lord and Savior, holy Rudiger comes back and he doesn't fix everything. Would you be shocked? We're still conceding goals, still conceding from set pieces, still wide open at the back. And, he's the most experienced, the leader, I'm told, and he hasn't, led. He kind of has to almost run his own game. If he can do that, it's a success. It's not him leading anybody else alongside him. So, the fact that he's the oldest, the most injury prone, the most clumsy. A lot of people say Zuma's the most clumsy, but the thing is with Zuma is he can recover and make good recovery tackles. He's a fantastic recovery tackler. Fantastic.
Yeah.
When he does make his errors, you often see Zuma last ditch defending, last man running, one-on-one with goal, the striker, and he does save the day. Rudiger doesn't have that. He dives in, his positioning is awful. He dives into tackles, he dives into movements, and if they don't come off, then there's a massive gap opened up behind him. I didn't like him and Luiz last season because they're both very rash, and I felt every time Christensen came back into the side, they were at least it balanced out. I wouldn't have so much issue with Rudiger if he wasn't this so-called leader, but he's apparently meant to be the leader of men, and he doesn't have that attribute. So I don't understand what he actually brings in comparison to the others, because I can name a strength of Zuma. He's obviously the PNP expert. He's got more than Rudiger, in my opinion. Pace and power, he's got that in abundance. If you're going to play a high line, you need quick defenders, so I understand the Zuma argument. Christensen, I don't need to say anything. Reading of the game, ball playing ability, just having the composure and the understanding of what's going on around him to actually stay calm. He can handle all of that, and he's got potential. It's clear. He just needs someone to lead him, and Tomori he's not going anywhere. So I don't understand what Rudiger brings to the table. Really don't.
Yeah, this is an absolute strange one. Now, I mean, James, listening to what Matisse had to say as well, I know we pretty much, us four, share the same sentiment, but give us sort of like a devil's advocate, if you were to play that. Why would you give this man an extension? What is it that Frank's thinking that's worthy enough for an extension, contract extension?
So you can sell him for more money. That's literally the only positive I can see from giving him a contract extension.
That is a particular opinion that's been thrown around a lot. And I mean, does that make sense to you, that perhaps an extension and then probably sell him?
I think that there seems to be interest from Germany. I'd guess. I think he's probably more suited to that league. Is a slower league in terms of the aggression side of it, so he could probably dominate quite well there. But for me, I just go back to the buying game. cry.
Oh.
It's just so bad. Like his positioning there, his awareness, it was dreadful. So for me, Rudiger doesn't, as what Matisse said, I don't see what he offers in comparison to the other centre backs, especially since Christensen has come back into the side. His aggression has gone up quite a bit. And I've been quite impressed with him in terms of his physicality has improved. So for me, Christensen's turned into a much more well-rounded defender than Rudiger. So, and obviously Zuma I think is much better than Rudiger in terms of the P&P, as Matisse said, and then Tomori is up and coming. So Rudiger for me is probably bottom of the pecking order. I don't really see a reason for him to stay. And the so-called leadership is like, it's an overrated trait, I think, from him. I think it's a slight myth. I know Gilmore did mention that Rudiger was talking to in a match, but is that leadership? He just had a little chat, I
don't want Rudiger to talk to Billy anyway. I mean, Billy's my boy. I don't want him to be...
if Billy's getting advice off Rudiger, we're going down the wrong path, I think.
I'd rather have Kepa talk to Rudiger, to Billy, if anything. But, what do you guys think in terms of, as soon as he came back from his injury, and I'll touch base now with Dami, Frank's really favoured Rudiger. Yeah, whether we like it or not, he's really, really favoured Rudiger. As Matisse said, I personally think Zuma and Tomori was our, probably the best combination that we've seen. I mean, when I say best, it's not saying that they're Premier League best, but for us this season, they've been the best combination. They still had a lot of work to do, but as soon as Rudiger was fit, that partnership of Zuma and Tomori was just stripped apart, and Rudiger was just a regular starter. Why is Frank so inclined to have this man starting match in, match out, after we've seen the commotion he created in the Bayern Munich game?
Honestly, when you ask me questions about Rudiger, normally everybody knows me as a constructed, well-worded individual. But when it comes to Rudiger, I literally don't know what to even start with him. I don't even want to give him an ounce. I don't even want to give him an ounce of my brain. I don't want to dedicate a specific section of my head to speak about this man, honestly, and that in the most respectable way as possible. Sorry to deviate what you're asking me, but just to give you a fair example, because I don't understand, because people say he's a lead. See, today I put out a tweet and I was just like, all right, what do you guys all think about Rudiger? Because Miz, remember, you're one of the first guests on my podcast last year. Remember the conversation we had about Rudiger? I have been saying this for months, and the club want to offer him a damn 3-year contract. My blood is boiling. I swear if I was white, you'd see my red, fam. Honestly, I'm not even joking. I'm actually running mad. I'm not the sheer thought that we actually want to sign this man on an extra contract, and the fact that I had 60+ comments on that tweet. More than half of them feel like Rudiger has this leader. He's always telling people what to do. He's one of the best centre-backs to have. Someone even had the balls to tell me that he's better than Tomori. I just muted him and kept moving. He was just like, Tomori's like... I was like, what's all this behavior? Why do people... What do people see in this man that we are not seeing? This man is clumsy, okay? All he does is shout. Matisse, go on.
Do you know what? I don't want this to turn into a slander, because I'm not trying to say he's... The thing is with him, it's dramatized on the TL that he's by far the worst. I'm not saying any of them. I said last time I've been in this, we spoke about centre backs. They're secondary centre backs, all of them.
Yeah.
So none of them are perfect. None of them are way better than him. He's not by far the worst, but he is the worst. Looking at, for instance, let me just give some examples. Christensen, you can see the potential. You can see where he can go in the future if you stick a leader alongside him like a John Terry or something. Next to John Terry, and he was absolutely immense, right? Before he got the massive injury, before he went out on loan. Tomori is a very well-rounded centre-back. We've seen him clean up after Alonso. We've seen him manage Salah. I haven't seen Rudiger do anything amazing. He's either been good or he's been horrible. I defenders, and I tried to pick out a back three, say, where would they play? I don't want Rudiger on the outside of a back three, because I don't like him in wide spaces, because he gets beaten easily because his positioning is very poor out wide. This happens all the time. And I don't want him in the middle, because he's actually not that great at defending. If you look at David Luiz when he played in the middle of a back three again for Conte, his left foot sweeps when the ball came in at the near post were masterful. He's not clumsy. When it comes to just when it comes to just defending, yeah, he can be quite clumsy in the way that he goes 1v1 sometimes and he can get lost and dragged away. But if you just look at him defending the box, he can actually be very composed and very clean with it. I don't see Rudiger as a guy who you could stick in the middle of a back three and be like, yeah, I can rely on this guy to hold everything together.
Even his ball playing is not that great, I don't think.
No, I've seen there's so many times where Rudiger tries to ping a ball across and it just cannons back.
And
Like,
in the middle
behind him.
But he's got all of these. I don't get it though, because he's got all of these stats that say that he's the best passer in the team or whatever. I'm like, I've never seen this on the. I'm not trying to be biased, honestly. I have never seen this on the pitch.
No.
Like, maybe he had better ball passing stats than David Luiz, but we know David Luiz is the better passer. So I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying.
I
I
think
think
if you can go safe as well with passing, that's what ups the stats and things. So
Yeah, well,
this isn't Rudiger slander. Honestly, see what boils my blood about the entire Rudiger argument is people actually are trying to defend him with things that he does not have in his locker. That's what really annoys me with the entire situation. People come at me saying he has leadership qualities because he comes on the pitch and shouts at people. He can't even control his two legs. He can't control people if you can't control your legs. Simple as that. Unlike certain people, I genuinely feel, in terms of being clumsy and positional awareness, he's as bad or worse than David Luiz. So when they told me that David Luiz was leaving earlier in the season, and obviously David Luiz is a defender. I know David Luiz is a bad defender. He's not the best defender in town. But when you compare him to Rudiger, the differences are not that much. But David Luiz actually brings something else to the team. His passing. Do you get where I'm coming from? But people are in my mentions today telling me, oh my God, Rudiger is the best centre-back we have. He's starting for the next 3 years. And I'm just like, nah, I'm muting you because I don't have time for this. I really don't have time for this. I don't see the leadership qualities. No, I don't see the leadership qualities people keep talking about. Thing is, I don't slander the man. Or if you go through all the things I ever say, I've said he's a rotational centre-back for a top club at best. But this man should not be starting week in, week out if you have any ambition to win anything whatsoever. That's just how I feel. And like I said before, he's a secondary centre-back like the rest of them. Yeah, Matisse, go on.
Just to summarise, cool. So if he's rotational at best, I think anybody who's saying is our best centre-back, I'm going to need a trait, right, as to why. I haven't got one.
Yeah.
If he's rotational at best, he's the oldest and most injury-prone. Should he not bounce? It's just simple math. Do you know what I mean? It's just really that simple.
At the end of the day, when I looked at that news, right, I was like, I was so hopeful that we're going to get a top-notch centre-back this, coming summer. And please, let's not talk about Gabriel Magalhaes. I don't know much about him, but nonetheless, I was still a little bit excited that we're getting someone. But with this new contract of Rudiger, a final statement from all of you guys. I'll start with James. Where do we now stand in terms of CB? If Rudiger gets the 3-year contract extension, does that mean someone else is leaving? Does it even mean that we are getting a CB?
I think, the only thing I hope is if he signs the contract, it actually means that we're trying to get money for him because his contract runs out in 22, so he's got 2 years left. We're not going to get huge money for him, and I think he's one of those players that I think we all agree is our worst centre back, but we could probably get the most for him out of all the centre backs we have. It's one of those weird ones. So for me,
it's the most marketable, probably.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. So yeah, if we get a 3-year deal, I'm all just basically hoping we can sell him for a decent amount of money because I don't see the potential there, and he's not the experienced leader that he should be at this age. So yeah,
But surely, if we extend the contract, we're not going to see him sold straight away, right?
Well, I don't know. We saw that with David Luiz. Contract extended straight away and sold him straight away. So it can happen. So Marina's a businesswoman at the end of the day, isn't she? So maybe this is all part of our master plan.
Matisse, what's your thoughts, man?
I'm praying, man, that what James just said is correct. Like, if we sign a new deal, even though I don't think he really needs to, because to be fair, I don't think the money's going to go too up and down with him. Like he's in his prime. I put quotes on. Like he's hardly going to have a 10, 15 million jump up from signing a new contract. Like his value is his value. To be honest, in terms of marketable, I don't even think he's the most. Sadly, I think Christensen's quite marketable. Pep Guardiola is a fan. I think he'd be quite easy to sell. Not that I want to sell him, but do you know what I mean? In terms of selling and getting money for, I think Zuma as well. Everton are big admirers of him. Premier League admirers. He's played at Stoke as well. So I think Rudiger's, probably. I think he's going to be quite difficult to move on because I mean, it's easy to throw links with Germany because he's German, but who's really seriously in Germany interested?
I could see it going somewhere like Dortmund.
And how much are they going to pay, really? How much do German teams really pay?
For me,
30
obviously, I
tops
hope
for me.
he leaves, but I'm not.
This is Marina we're talking about. She can get 70 million for him.
I hope so. I really do hope so.
Oh.
Because I'm not a fan, and I never. And the thing is, it's not flip flopping. A lot of people say, "Oh, he used to think he." No, nobody thought he was our best centre back, apart from a few of you. Who, when he was out, when he was conceded goals, you just assumed because he wasn't playing that he was our best centre back. When really, he's just not.
I mean,
if he was so far and away the best, we wouldn't have.
Yeah, I don't know.
Such an increase in the quality of defence when he came back, but there wasn't. So
yeah, I don't know who our best centre back is because I don't.
No, I don't think we have a best centre back.
No, I don't rank any of them highly.
But we definitely have a worst.
I don't waste my time getting into those debates because I don't think it's clear.
No. There's no clear answer.
No, but I know he's the worst. Fact.
Yeah.
It's just shocking.
Final word on him, dummy.
I mean, for me, like I said, everybody knows my stance on Rudiger. Like, I'm not trying to violate the man. Obviously, I respect him as a human being as well. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, no. Like, the one thing I've learned today actually about this entire Rudiger situation is who do we get as a replacement? Because what we all want, we want someone that can lead the. It's not ridiculously expensive.
No. Oh, who's going back?
Am I back? Oh my God. All right. I said you want someone that can lead the back line. Am I still here?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
All right. We want someone that can lead the back line. Yeah. Someone that's a bit experienced. Someone that has P&P as well. Someone who fits that bill, like at this very time, especially with this virus and like the lack of movement, like it's really difficult to get someone. So if someone tells me that Frank would want him for those reasons, I'd be like, God damn it. But we just have to let it slide. Do you know what I'm saying? I really see. I'm on my knees. I would literally go on my knees on this podcast just to get Rudiger to leave the club. Honestly speaking, but at the end of the day, I probably might have to go with what James said. But there needs to be a replacement because all the centre backs we currently have, all this Ake nonsense I see on the TL with this. What's that guy's name? Is it Gabriel?
No. Brian's listening, bro.
Brian is crying now.
Brian, at TFC, Brian, come at me, fam. What? Are you in love with these dreadlocks? Like, what do you mean? Like, what's that behavior? What? Nah, I don't understand that Ake thing, man. Honestly, he's been on for too long. All of them are not. I mean, I watched Ake live. I watched him live. He's not that good. He's not that good. He's not what you like. People want a centre back that would go in for challenges, go in for tackles, go for the ball. I could have I'm not getting that ball. I'm not touching it. It's all good. Chiga, I'm coming from. That's not the kind of defender we need. We need someone that can come in and be like, yo, you need to go there. I'm going to run down this way. So if the market doesn't have anything like that at the moment, so for us to get rid of Rudiger is going to be extremely difficult. Except somebody like that can pop out of nowhere. Till then, we just have to pray and go with what James has said. That's me. I
wanna finish this topic off with a classic Rudiger with a pointing. I love that picture, man. That's the only thing I like about Rudiger. That picture in the timeline. Every time I see, I love it. I love it. That deserves a like and sometimes a retweet. Let's now move on to.
Well, he's given us that, so he might as well stay.
Yeah. Let's now swiftly move on to the next topic, which, man, honestly, my heart palpitation is now rising. This is even worse than Rudiger. This one, every time I see this coming up in the timeline, and we're rumoured with this player, and I know I'm going to get a lot of stick once we load this up, because there are a lot of fans out there for this player. But Declan Rice, I don't know what the fascination is. I don't really understand the fascination from certain fans. Yesterday, I saw a tweet about Declan Rice. I'm not going to mention from who. You guys know very well. And I had to jump in. And start really talking about this particular agenda because there are quite a few people out there that really, really want Declan Rice to, one, replace Jorginho, two, start for Chelsea. And I'm failing to understand because, look, I haven't watched too much of Declan Rice, but of the little that I've seen, I don't know what I'm missing here that others are seeing. So I want to start once again with Matisse. Yesterday, when I was having a debate about this, I was told that Declan Rice would easily be a fit-in any of the Premier League top 6 teams. He would be starting anyone bar Man City. And I was also told that, if it was Man City, he'd be replacing Gundogan. He'd be easily starting for Liverpool. He'd be easily starting for Leicester over Ndidi. He would easily start for us, which would allow for 2 strong. So he'd basically play in a 4-3-3, which, seems amusing to me. But he would be in the middle of the 4-3-3, and then you'd have the 2 solid 8s apparently running beside him. So explain to me, Matisse, how does this match? What are we missing? This guy apparently fits into every top 6 Premier League club.
Jesus is Lord. Jesus is Lord. Hey, I am thoroughly gone.
Who the hell said name and shame? Yeah.
It's time, man. It's time. I think it's going to happen right here, right now. Mediana era thinks Rice fits into any top 6.
Honestly,
clubs,
my boy. Honestly, why? So Fabinho.
Yeah.
And then in the move, it's just not even going to address that because Fabinho is one of the best holding midfielders in the league. Not even addressing that. Yeah. Moving on to Manchester City, the way that they play out from the back, Declan Rice just does not fit into that. His range of passing is too simplistic. The way that he even receives the ball and turns is too slow and lethargic. This is a player that can really get spun by literally anyone. Like, yes, he can be a destroyer and he can do the simple things very well. And he is designated to hold and he will not run off like a Jorginho sometimes does get a little bit attracted to the ball and run off and leave space in behind him. Declan Rice will hold his position, I'll give him that. But holding your position and doing the basics right is not good enough for a top club. Not anymore. It's not 2007. He's good enough on the ball. Manchester City play expansively. The holding midfield has to drop into the middle of the defence, straight passes around while the centre-backs widen. There's so much going on for his little brain to capacitate. Like, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Man's going to get upset with you, bro.
I'm just trying to understand how a player, how old is he, 21?
Yeah, I think he's 21, yeah.
Yeah.
Why in the hell, if we was getting a holding midfielder, why the hell would we get one so young that is then going to, I don't like using the word often, but when I'm talking about players of this ilk, I will use it. Block, Ampadu, and Gilmour. Why would we're going to get a holding midfielder? Surely they need to be experienced and reliable at this level where they will 100% clean up after whatever mess Jorginho is making. And if he's, if he's making, Jorginho is going to leave. It needs to be for someone nearly borderline world class. It's not going to be for Declan Rice. Ampadu and Gilmour have way more about them in terms of potential. They can do both sides of the game. They're great on the ball, and they're also great actually doing their jobs as holding midfielders. You look at Gilmour. I know he hasn't played many games, but he's tracking Mane's runs.
Yeah,
he's got the defensive awareness. He's not running off. He's got the passing. We know how good he is on the ball, his vision and everything. So he's got both sides of the. Excuse the plug. I like it. Coin. So I'm not trying to see a very one-dimensional player at the age of 21 come through at Cobham.
Yeah.
Come back to Cobham. Like, there's a reason why he was let go, and it's because we had better. We don't need to bring him back, especially not paying that English tax price, which is going to be more than abroad.
80 million for Declan Rice.
Am I meant to be are you having a laugh? Like, that is embarrassing. He doesn't start ahead of Ndidi. He doesn't start ahead. He doesn't start at Man City. Pep doesn't even sign him, period. It just doesn't happen. Pep's worked with Busquets and Thiago, and he's going to talk to Declan Rice. Is this meant to be a reality show?
So many people are replying back to the whole Pep thing that, he's apparently praised him publicly.
That's embarrassing, honestly. Like, from everything that you've seen from Pep in the last decade, what would make you even think he touched Declan Rice? Like, Fernandinho was playing that position for good reason. Very good on the ball. It's not always about let's sign a tall defensive midfielder. Billy Gilmour was winning headers at 5 foot, wherever he is, 5'5" or something. Like, he's not being tall. Barkley doesn't win as many headers as Gilmour, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Also, like, in that zone, you're playing against your Coutinhos, your Loftus-Cheeks. You need to be very much on, you know what I mean? You need to be on your game. You need to be able to twist and turn with these players. Declan Rice was for fun against Loftus-Cheek last season.
Yeah.
Saying Loftus-Cheek, people tell me he's very overrated, doesn't really play all much, he's usually injured. Getting compared with the likes of Winks and McTominay. And this is who Declan Rice is getting spun by.
It's embarrassing, man. James, thoughts, man? I mean, some are saying Declan Rice would replace Gundogan in Man City. How would someone like Kevin De Bruyne, I mean, him looking at Declan Rice when he had people like David Silva around him, Fernandinho now around him. I mean, what does this guy bring, man? I mean, talk about that, and also talk about what he could do for Chelsea.
Well, he brings nothing to Man City because they don't need him. Their midfield's already way above Declan Rice level. For us, he would bring breaking up the ball and passing it, but Gilmour does that at a very good level already, and I think can do it even better than Declan Rice. Probably if he plays 10 matches in a row, he's already at that level. And Purdue the same. So for me, I don't like, as Matisse said, I don't like to talk about blocking youth, but these are two youth players that are, I think, are going to go right to the top. As Harry Redknapp quote, but they are right to the very top. But for me, Declan Rice, there's no need for him. 80 million, 90 million for Declan Rice. I don't understand it. I mean, he's a decent player. He can break out the ball, and he can pass it. But Gilmour does that with so much more elegance and so much more. He can twist and turn. He can hold on to the ball. He's so much more press resistant. As Matisse said, if you bully Rice like Ruben did, he's just nothing. He just evaporates in a game, because at Stamford Bridge last season he was nowhere to be seen with pressure on him and things. So Gilmour's already better in that aspect, and Purdue the same. So for me, we've already got two players who are younger than him and probably arguably the same level or better. So
I had someone yesterday say to me when I was making the same argument that he's 21 and he's only played in the West Ham style. So if he was to given an opportunity to play in a different style, that he could adapt and be the kind of Declan Rice that we want to see.
Then, if you look at England, he plays for England, and England doesn't play a defensive style, and he doesn't stand out for them, does he?
Yeah, true. Dummy,
you know what I mean? He doesn't.
Dummy, thoughts on Declan Rice, man?
Mediano, if you're watching this, much love to you, my brother. But fam, the two arguments. See, the thing with Mediano is that we have two consistent arguments. Yeah, it's Jorginho, that's popular on the timeline now, and that's Declan Rice as well. I saw the tweet yesterday, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not biting this one. I'm not even going to bite." I've said it several times in the past. Declan does the simple stuff well. He knows how to pass the ball. He knows how to do like the simple, I pass the ball there, and I'm sitting. I'm going to screen this person. I'm going to do that. Even when you pull up his statistics, while all of you were talking just now, I have this man's statistics up here. He's played 3 more games than Jorginho, okay? Look at these man's stats. Everybody's always talking about Jorginho not being able to run. This man has played how many more games, yeah? Their recoveries are basically the exact same thing. Who has made more fouls? Obviously, Declan Rice. And this is someone that plays in the defensive team as well. Who has made more what are you even talking about? Everything here, it's literally the exact same thing as Jorginho, stats-wise, okay? But does Declan Rice provide the passing that Jorginho does have? I'm not even going to get into all this Liverpool, Man City, yada. I'm not getting into any of that Mickey Mouse discussion. I'm talking about Chelsea and Chelsea strictly. Nothing. I'm not even talking about the rest of them. If you take a look at just looking at the statistics alone, the stats, because people like to back stats on this platform, okay? You use the eye test and use statistics. The eye test is not even a comparison. You don't even see the man on the pitch. Do you get where I'm coming from? You don't even see the man. Nothing special. Nothing special. I don't know what people are looking at. They're like, oh, improve him and take him up to the next level. If you put him in a world-class side doing that, isn't that what Jorginho does? Come on, fam. Come on. Expect better, fam. We've had this argument several times, and I took the W. You don't know why you're still tweeting this nonsense out, honestly. But honestly, for me, I like to be very serious, though. I don't understand this Declan Rice thing at all. I mean, he does this nice, simple stuff well. And maybe if you chucked him into like a big side that had like an excellent left and right midfielder like Loftus-Cheek and all of that. But like Matisse said, wasn't it Loftus-Cheek that bullied this man to the ground? Oh, come on. We're trying to challenge for the Champions League, not Europa League. Nah, not Declan Rice. I'm sorry. And think that not disrespect to Declan as well. What's this?
That's a throwback.
Into Toto Cup.
But the thing is, with no disrespect to Declan as well, because I mean, I'm sure it's a sound like I'm not saying I don't rate him, but why do we need him? For what? Why? For what? Why?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
It does not make any sense.
People talk about this big, long, large figure in the holding midfield role because I guess Mikel, but you can also look at Makelele. You can look at Kante, very good ball retrievers. Look at Ampadu, Gilmore. These are players. It's also nice sometimes to have a little nitty-gritty player who just get around. Do you know what I mean? Busy kind of thing. I'm not trying to see Declan Rice get pulled apart up and down the place because he's not particularly quick. Like I said, he's not particularly dynamic, and you need to be when you're against some of the most skillful players on the planet. I mean, am I trying to see Declan Rice in the Champions League semi-finals getting dragged up this way and that way?
Imagine Declan Rice against Thiago Alcantara.
I think Dammy's face summed that up there.
Jorginho, listen, Jorginho's tackle statistics are better than Declan Rice. I rest my case. I rest my case. Jorginho, who gets slandered left, right, and center for fouls, has better his statistics are better than Declan Rice for tackling. I rest my case. I literally rest my case.
What's the dribbled past? I want to see that.
Dribbled past. All right, hold on.
Let's see. I would love to have someone's opinion is verbally because I don't understand it at all.
Who's this?
Yeah, and I had someone yesterday say that Declan Rice, in terms of defensive abilities, he's I think number 2 in the Premier League with recoveries. Number 2.
Yeah, but then you have to look at who he's playing for, don't you?
Exactly. I think this is what people don't understand, that West Ham, they're going to have more recoveries. They're going to be more defensive, and his defensive stats are going to look excellent. As you said, James, how many goals have they conceded as well? There's a reason why they're in the bottom of the table. And it's, I think at the end of the day, we need to realize, and I want to ask this to Matisse because I want to get his thoughts on this, about this particular matter. If we play Declan Rice for us, what are we expecting? I mean, we've not seen this boy play, as you said. I've said it yesterday that defensive abilities is fantastic, but we need someone who can pass the ball as well because we don't play. We play possession based. We generally have 60% possession most games. We need this boy to be able to ping passes, find brilliant, through the middle passes, find diagonal passes, so on and so forth. He needs to have that mentality to know how to play with the ball. So what are we expecting when we have Declan Rice in our team? What is the mentality that some fans have?
To do much with the ball, and it's easy to do things with time on the ball, but to do where you really show how good you are, the weight of pass. Players like Billy Gilmore, who can do things quickly, he's extremely press resistant. This kid, extremely press resistant. You tell me if you're putting Declan Rice in those same tight areas, are you going to get the same output? You're not. You're going to get some turnovers. You're going to get some panic passes, some passes into touch. How many times has Billy Gilmore misplaced a pass or put it out for a throw? These are the little things I'm looking at.
Really?
I can see Declan Rice being very, very sluggish sometimes. I can see him being very, complacent with his passing. I can see him under pressure cracking. He doesn't look like a player that can handle being in tight situations, I look at sometimes, I don't want to be rude, but I do look at people's brain connected to their feet. I want to see how quickly it works. But sometimes it's not quick for everybody. It's just simple facts. I'm not even trying to be rude, but some players don't think as quickly as others. Barkley does not think at the same speed as Gilmore. He just doesn't. They need more time on the ball. It's very clear their IQ is lower. So there's a reason why some players play for Barcelona and some don't. And Declan Rice play for a possession-based team who are highly pressed under tight situations and are expected to then, give the ball out into good areas, not just quickly move it along back. Because if you don't recycle the ball correctly, you actually put your teammates into pressurized situations. So you need to be good in tight situations, and also you need to be effective and give it into good zones. And that involves just so much awareness that I just don't think that he has playing for West Ham. And I just don't understand the age. Like, I'm not trying to see Declan Rice for the next 10 years. If he was 30 and he had experience and he was cheap, I'd understand. But paying 80 million for someone who's not better than the potential of Ampadu Gilmore, who's going to mess up their time frame and timeline because he's literally on course with them, to play at the same point in their career. They're both all around the same age. I don't understand what he's bringing to the table apart from being tall.
Gino, honestly, the thing
being tall, they don't defend set pieces anyway. So being tall means that shit to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
The thing is with this thing, I'm starting to think. I've sat down here listening to what you're saying, and I'm starting to think about it. I do understand where this thing is coming from. Don't get me wrong, I'm not backing it. I'm not backing this at all. I understand where it's coming from in the sense that I wish they were on here to correct me if I was wrong, but I just feel like they're looking at this Declan Rice situation as if this man, because they're expecting him to do the job of your older defensive midfielder. You clean up the ball, exactly. You clean up the ball and you just give a simple pass to either the 8 or the other person on your right, and then they get the job done. And that's actually that's not what happens anymore. That's not.
I mean, you look at Gilmore against Liverpool.
Exactly. You don't play that anymore. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So my point with Declan is when I say he does the simple stuff, if you want him to do that, go well in. But if you're going to play possession-based football, especially when you're going to be dancing around the box, this thing about dancing around the box with Sarri, it happened with Sarri, it happened with Lampard last season. You're going to have to need people that can move the ball relatively quickly in that semicircle fashion around the box. He's not doing that for you, blood. He's not doing that for you. Benny Gilmore can do that for you. And that's why I keep backing Jorginho, because people just look at, he gets caught out defensively, he's as slow as the referee. I agree. My hands are held up high. I'm not calling him the best defender. But if you want to win games, you need to score goals. Do you get where I'm coming from? You need to score goals. You need to move the ball up the pitch quickly. And Declan Rice is not doing that for you. You're not always going to have a situation where you get the ball and you're going to have a quick turnover where Declan is like, okay, I'm going to pass the ball to Loftus-Cheek and all I need to do is jog behind him to try and retrieve the ball later. That's not always going to happen.
And you know what, Dummy? This has been the argument that I've seen, that it's exactly what you said. They just want Declan Rice so that you can have two dynamic midfielders on the side. So pretty much what they're saying is Declan Rice just does the basics and all the workload is on the midfielders. Yeah. Which I don't know, man. I mean, football's evolved from that, I feel. I don't think, we need to play that type of football. So
he looks like a very Jose Mourinho holding midfielder.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I could see him working well for Oli at United.
Their favourite managers with their transfer targets. That's just honest. Because their account Mediano, his favourite manager is Jose Mourinho. So now it starts. And everybody does it. I do it as well. We align with our favourite managers' philosophy. How we want to see it play. Therefore, our transfer targets reflect that. If you're really deep at the speed that we're trying to play the game at, you look at how many times we failed to break opposition down at home because the ball around so slowly. Centre-backs are also in the midfield. We need to play the ball around quickly, not playing the right speed. It's just not going to.
It's not going to happen. No one's going to allow it. Can you imagine just having Declan Rice on the ball? It's just like, okay, imagine when you guys let's look back. I can't even think of a match. Remember when we just be passing? Imagine if you don't see Declan Rice, it's like loading. The opposition can be like, hey, this man is a bit slow, isn't it? Yeah. Boom, you get the ball off him, boom, you have to concede the goal. So you're going to end up conceding more goals. No, I don't care if the man is 6'10". Honestly, I don't give a damn about his height. I don't care if you can run as fast as Usain Bolt. But if your brain is not moving at the same speed as your legs or the same capacity as your height, then there is no need. Literally no need. It's not like he does fantastic passes, nothing. So there's no need. He doesn't do passes like Jorginho or Billy. He doesn't move the ball quickly like either of them. He's basically a Ross Barkley in DM.
Yeah, Ross Barkley in DM. I'm sorry. That's a scary thought, Danny.
I'm sorry.
That is a scary thought.
I'm sorry.
Milo says your brain does the work and your feet are just the tools. That's basically it. And I look at this personally that their IQ is high. Do you know what I mean? So they can play higher IQ football. Last season's football was clearly too much for some. Not naming names, we all know what players couldn't handle it, couldn't hack the instructions. So personally not trying to see that. And listen, I know Frank Lampard's not Sarri. He's also not Jose Mourinho. He doesn't just concede possession and counter it. That's why we need to find. I'm all on board. If you can find me a holding midfielder that can do the dirty work and can win more of the duels. Because I do understand Jorginho can be weak at that at times.
Yeah.
Yes, he can be weak at track and run. He was 100% physically, all that kind of stuff. You find me a DM that can do that, but also play with the ball as well. And then on top of that is experience, because we don't need any more youngsters in this team. Then you sold me on getting rid of Jorginho and replacing him with a DM. But coming with this Declan Rice shit, it's like shopping at Waitrose and you can only afford the meal deals.
Yeah, so true.
All right.
I want to finish this off. I think we've covered it nicely. I want to finish it off with a nice touch. I'm pretty sure you guys would have seen this tweet. It's from Noman. He did a little tweet on Jorginho not that long ago, where the vision is. I think Matisse, you commented and you actually tagged Mediano on that, where Jorginho goes like that to Giroud to come, and Giroud drops dead, and then Jorginho pings a ball to Hazard.
Brilliant. Come, right, fuck off.
For me, that was exactly what Jorginho does, and that's exactly what you need in a possession-based team when you hold it. And Gilmore gives that. So I can't imagine Rice. I don't think I've ever seen Rice, calling out a player like that or move that way or doing any sort of gestures.
Doesn't have the brain for it.
Yeah, just as you said, James. Yeah, just does. I feel like you guys just doesn't have the brains for it.
The thing with Gilmore as well, I just want to say that the leadership of Gilmore is actually really, really good. Like he doesn't. He's not afraid to like just talk shit to people if they're not doing what they need to be doing. Like he'll point, he'll shout at you, but I don't see Declan Rice doing that at the level and the IQ that's needed.
Yeah.
Same with Amp.
And you know what, that position requires guidance as well. Like it's a conductor role. Like you need to tell you move there. You need to talk to your CBs. You need to talk to your midfielders. You need to talk to your strikers. I feel like there's a reason why we see Jorginho do all the hand gestures, and now we're seeing Billy do that. We've even seen Amper to do that when he plays for Wales.
Yeah. Amper and Billy are so good at that. They are so good at that.
Because I feel like that position there can see everything.
Yeah.
So, as opposed to being a defender or in the strike. So that position gets the vision of every angle. So they need to do, they need to have that. So if Declan Rice is going to play in that sitting, look, I mean,
that's the basis as well. 21, we've got players that are ahead of him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's 21 and all the best luck to him, but I personally don't think he fits into Chelsea. To summarize, boys, so it's for contract extension for Rudiger, and it's a astounding no with Declan Rice for Chelsea. So hopefully all the viewers who are going to watch this later on down the track enjoy our takes on these two topics in recent times. We'll be back again talking about whole new Chelsea stuff tomorrow. Every day spins out some weird, crazy stuff. So let's get together again and let's talk about more stuff. And hopefully we might have even some more cheeky guests on. Let's spice this up. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. See ya.
Oh my days.